Welcome to the reading of Guide's Greatest Hero Stories. Chapter 4, Lucy and the Light, by K. Heistand, July 31, 1963. By now, Lucy was so worried that she could hardly keep from crying. She sat down on a large rock by the shore to watch for her father. The waves splashed higher and higher as the sun began to set and the shadows lengthened. Lucy had a right to worry, for her father was the lighthouse keeper, and he had never before been away from his duty at night. Lucy and her father lived on a small rocky island where a tall lighthouse guarded that part of the Atlantic coast. In her father's hands rested the responsibility of keeping the lamp lighted to warn the great ships to steer clear of dangerous rocks. This day, as he had done many times before, father had taken his small boat and gone to the mainland to buy supplies. Dusk was now creeping in, and still there were no sign of him. A wind had sprung up, and waves roared against the rocks, as if trying to catch Lucy's feet. She moved back a little, and strained her eyes to see over the white foam. Lucy had always been a timid child. She had no friends, for she had led a very lonely life on the little island. Books kept her company, and her father and her religion were her beacons. As the daylight faded, Lucy knelt and prayed for God to tell her what she ought to do. Should she light the lamp? When she rose to her feet, she felt filled with courage. Her heart was eased, and she knew what she must do. Going into the lighthouse, she lighted a candle. Taking a long taper and matches, she began to climb the steep, winding stairs. But Lucy had a secret problem. She was terribly afraid of heights. Imagine a lighthouse keeper's daughter who feared high places. Lucy had tried very hard to overcome this fear, and she didn't think her father had even guessed it. On this lonely, stormy night, it took a lot of courage to climb those steep stairs alone. But up she went. She tried to shield the flickering candle with her body. This was long before everyone had electric lights. Grasping the cold metal railings tightly, she climbed as quickly as she could, not once daring to look down into the depths below. Reaching the platform at the top of the tower, she studied the large light for a moment. She had watched her father light it many times, but she had never done it by herself. It was almost dark now, and the wind was raging in a fury. Angry waves pounded against the lighthouse so that it trembled. With a deep breath, Lucy lighted the long taper. Standing on tiptoe, she lighted all the big burners. A prayer for help slipped between her lips as she adjusted the valves and waited for the pressure to build up. Then, as the large lantern flared into life, bright and clear and glowing, flashing out for miles across the ocean, she cried with all her heart, "Thank you, God." and her cheeks were wet with tears of tension and relief. All that night Lucy waited. Her worry over her father's absence and her fear that the light might fail kept her awake. When at dawn the fury of the wind and the waves subsided, Lucy took up her watch on the shore again. There at last was father's small boat coming through the grey mists. She ran into her father's arms as soon as he beached the boat. "Thank God, my child, that you lighted the lamp," he cried, stroking her fair hair. "What happened, father? Are you hurt or ill?" She hugged him tightly. "Two men stopped me at my boat yesterday afternoon. They detained me by force, so I couldn't get home to light the lamp. They kept me a prisoner in a small shed. They belonged to a gang that planned to rob ships that would be wrecked on the rocky coast when there was no light to warn them off. But when the men saw the light come on, they knew that their plan had failed. They let me go, but I didn't dare to cross the rough water in the night. Oh, Lucy, I'm so proud of you." "I was worried and frightened, father, and I could have never done it alone." Lucy brushed back her hair from her forehead. She stood tall and straight, and the shadows of the night's fear were gone from her eyes. "Not done it alone?" her father exclaimed, his eyes searching the shore. "Who was with you?" "My God is the rock of my refuge," Lucy quoted softly. "His hand guided me. His strength gave me strength, and his presence cast out all my fear." Psalms 94, verse 22. Father looked at his daughter, and there was a gentle benediction in his eyes. We are never alone. It makes me very happy to see that you have learned this great truth.